Nobody wants to buy it from you and run it. They want to invest in you and your ability to scale it. The private equity business model is not to take over operations. All they're doing is bringing money and skill to the table. They're investing in entrepreneurs like you who have a vision.
Because I want to ask you a question that I would ask you personally if you were with me one-on-one. I have a brand called Natural Slim. If I sell that company, let's say that company did $22 million in revenue in 2020 and we ended up profiting maybe 4 or 5, why would you sell it right now when you are the only one that can get it there? Which if you take you out of the equation, Ezra, that company's not going to go like that.
I disagree. Number one, that you're the only, you're not giving credit to how many sophisticated, amazing, smart people there are out there that understand e-commerce and advertising and sales funnels and omni-channel and retail and product line and margins and infrastructure and supply chain. Like, you're definitely, first, the idea that you're the only one who can grow it, not true. Just blanket statement, not an accurate depiction of the world. Second, the reason you would sell it is because the risk profile is insane. Like, the risk that you have is, number one, if you have a down year where, let's say, ads go belly up or you lose your supply chain or whatever, you're fucked, number one. Number two, you've got insurance, product recall, liability. You've got crazy liability. If you're selling the amount of product that you're selling, I understand, I do this. You've got liability, legal and otherwise. Is it a 1 in 1,000 chance? Yes, but if you get hammered, you're gonna be in a class action suit and you're gonna have to pay a $500,000 fine, right? Like, you have liability. Okay, so if somebody is willing to write you a $10 to $20 million check in liquid cash right now for that brand, you'd be stupid not to sell it, because you have big goal. Because number one, you can rebuild. You have the skill set. Number two, you have big vision, big goals. You could, with the stroke of a pen, guarantee your family's wealth forever. You could retire. And number three, you wouldn't sell it outright. You'd sell 80% of it to a private equity firm who wants to invest in you and your team and support you. As cool and smart as you are, you have blind spots. I do too. Who wants to support you in understanding financial analysis and forecasting on a new level, understanding supply chain and logistics on a new level, understanding international retail on a new level. These private equity firms, they come with skills.
Right.
And so basically they're saying, hey, listen, we value you at 20 million. We're going to write you a check for 17 liquid right now. Oh, and by the way, we want you, Manuel, to stay on board as the CEO and your team on board for the next 5 years. And we want to support you in your growth. We want to advise you. We want to help you get you into retail. We want to help you go international. We want to help you optimize your supply chain. And then in 5 years, once we grow it from 20 to 100, we want to sell it for 300. Oh, and by the way, you'll still own 25%. So you'll get 75 million in 5 years if we're successful. And you know what it takes? Trust me, I know this. To go from 40 to 100 million, it takes more skills than you personally and your team have, because there's things you don't understand about that level of scale. And so, not that it's not the right move for you to keep the brand. By the way, you do whatever you want. I'm telling you my take on it. It doesn't mean I'm right. You've got to trust your own intuition, your own sense, your inner knowing. But if somebody's offering me a $20 million check for a brand that I have, there's not a day in the world that I'm not taking that, because I'm interested in guarantees and security and risk mitigation and monetization of my equity and time and energy. And oh, by the way, you make the deal with these people that you can still use it as an example for all your trainings. So you got at least a 5-year runway where you can use it as an example for all your trainings. And then let's say in 5 years you sold it and you didn't have a brand. Well, with that kind of money, you could easily buy a new one. With the check you get day one, you could easily buy a new one and keep growing it, or build a new one.
Yeah, you gave me a brand new perspective that I hadn't looked at. In my case, it's a feeling that I want to keep it because it's kind of like my baby, and I've been growing with it so much, and there's been a lot of energy and building this team and this team of people, which is right now we have about 120 people in this company. We have like people all over the place in the world, and the opportunity of like building a remote world that we have here going on, that it's like a team that I don't want to let go. But with your viewpoint that you just gave me right now, it makes a lot of sense, because I can literally multiply my team several times and then still keep a piece of the pie. That I hadn't thought about that.
Nobody wants to buy it from you and run it. They want to invest in you and your ability to scale it. The private equity business model is not to take over operations. All they're doing is bringing money and skill to the table. They're investing in entrepreneurs like you who have a vision, who have a team, and they're saying, hey, keep doing everything you're doing. Oh, and by the way, doesn't look like you understand retail. Doesn't look like you understand financial analysis and forecasting. Doesn't look like you understand international supply chain logistics. Doesn't look like you understand pick, pack, and ship. Let us come in and support you with these skills. Let us take all the risk so you're paid out. Let us pay you a $500,000 a year salary. You're covered. You get a $15 million check. You get a multi-$100,000 a year salary. You own 25% of the company. You get to keep running it. You stay in charge, but now you've got backers. It's a smart move for somebody who scales a company bootstrapped with no debt to your size.
That's absolute fire. Absolute fire. I love that. Great viewpoint. You're not really giving away your business. You're letting people buy into it and helping you go to the next level.